AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorneys.
If you've been hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle crash, call the attorneys at Sweet James for a free case review. 800-9-million. Let's be honest. After a serious crash, the system is stacked against you. Insurance companies have one goal: protect themselves, not you. That's where Sweet James comes in. When you put Sweet James on your side, you put power and respect on your side. Their attorneys have experience in over 500 trials with a 98% winning record. And when insurance companies mess with you, they deliver results that sends them a message. They step in, help you get treatment, and fight for what you deserve. You don't pay unless they win. Call 800-9-million. 800-900-0000. SweetJames.com.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorneys.
Fridays at 5, I'm out exploring. From hiking up Camelback to skiing at Snowbowl, the adventures never stop with AAA. It's membership that travels with me, whether behind the wheel or a passenger, in my ride, my buddies, or a rental. AAA's got 24/7 expert help with tows, battery help, and more. Plus branch services like free passport photos and trip planning. Membership gives you all this and more for less than $6 a month, and I can add loved ones for half off. Call or visit your local branch today. AAA, your membership to go.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family, because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Monument Valley? Check. Grand Canyon? Check. Sedona? Check. Camelback? Check. Think you've seen it all in Arizona? Well, if you haven't been fishing, you haven't seen a thing. From ponds and reservoirs to rivers and lakes, our state has no shortage of ways to cast a line for beginners and pros. And a fishing license is your passport to all of them. Get your license at azgfd.gov and discover a whole new way to see Arizona.
Superstar Car Wash, the car wash with superpowers. Sign up for a free car wash today. That's right, totally free for a limited time. Because we love what makes you shine. See website for details.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Welcome into the Friday edition of the lunch break. Hope everybody's having a tremendous Friday today. No Chris Schubert. Chris is out, unfortunately, a little under the weather, so it's just me, producer Evan, filling in today, and we got a lot to get to. A busy show. It was the D-backs lost 2 of 3 yesterday. The Cardinals rumors continue on, and yesterday it was the owner and the general manager for the Suns, Matt Ishbia and Brian Gregory, hit the podium for a post-season press conference, and that's where we'll start today's program.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Brian Gregory and Matt Ishbia had their after-season press conference yesterday where they addressed not only what happened in 2025, 2026 and their successful and surprising season, but they talked about the future as well. And we'll start with what we heard from the owner, Matt Ishbia, who talked about the team and really how they got through 2025, 2026 through the injuries, right? It was injuries that nagged them all year long, and you couldn't get the, quote, 3, I don't know, whatever you want to insert there, of Dylan Brooks, Devin Booker, and Jalen Green, on the court altogether for a significant amount of time. And so that was something that Matt Ishbia addressed. Now, he didn't make excuses, I thought. I thought he talked about where the roster could be better. I thought he talked about what went wrong in the postseason, especially playing Oklahoma City. I don't think many of us were picking the Suns to come out of a 7-game series against the defending champions. But one thing that he continued to say is getting these guys more time together. He didn't feel like they had time to gel. He didn't feel like they had a lot of time to play together. And then he continued on to talk about Devin Booker, his role as a Phoenix Sun, what he means to the organization. And Chris and I have thrown around the idea maybe they move on from Devin Booker. Maybe they look to trade him. He put the kibosh on that. Matt Ishbia, Devin Booker is not getting traded. Devin Booker is our franchise player. We're going to win a championship here with Devin Booker. And I'm excited to do it. And I'm excited to be next to him when we do that. It is the owner doing what he has done since he bought the team. Put the keys to the car, put the faith in the hands of Devin Booker. You have a top 30 player in the NBA. A top 30 player in the NBA who, it was touched on by Stephen A. Smith this morning, loves Phoenix, loves the Phoenix Suns, wants to be a member of this community for his entire career. How many players, honestly, across all of professional basketball in the last 20 plus years can say they wanted to be a part of that organization, that team for their entire career? And they did that. When you watch Devin Booker talk about the Phoenix Suns, talk about his time here in Phoenix, you feel like this is a guy who is a Phoenix Sun through and through. He's going to be a career Sun. And despite what we have talked about since the season ended just a couple days back, Devin Booker's not going anywhere. And I wouldn't expect this, quote, medium three. I don't want to call him the big three. I don't want to give anybody little PTSD from last year's Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. But the three that the Suns hand the keys to the car, to go with that analogy again. Dylan Brooks, Devin Booker, Jalen Green. I wouldn't expect the three of them to go anywhere. Because the one word that continued to come up, not only with Matt Ishbia, but when it was passed along to Brian Gregory. And I thought Brian Gregory had some very interesting points. But the one thing that continued to come up is continuity. And I want to read this quote. With continuity of our players, with continuity of our staff, with a huge focus on emphasis on development, we're going to take big jumps this summer, and you're going to see it next year. Continuity. To me, what does that mean? It means you're going to see likely a similar starting five, a similar group as this year into next year. Yesterday, we asked the question, can the Suns realistically run it back? Is it in the cards for them to run it back? And when you look at this team, you say they probably can't win a championship with their current roster. I think that's fair to say. And I'm not saying I'm right, but it feels as if with the current roster they built, they can't compete with the San Antonios of the world, the Oklahoma Cities of the world. And in a stacked Western Conference, they don't feel like a top 3, top 4 team that can run with the best when it comes to a Western Conference Finals or a second round. I get it. But this is a team that doesn't control 6 of their next 7 first-round picks. This is a team that was years over the second apron. It was just able to get under the second apron, just able to get under the luxury tax this year. This is an organization that has an uphill climb. And yes, year one was a spectacular surprise for all of us. Vegas win total 30.5. They go out there, they win 45 games. Under the leadership of Jordan Knott, through all the injuries, this team continued to poo-poo the odds, to continue to fight on, and win 45 games when they were projected to win 30-31. I think that in and of itself is impressive. I don't think anybody as a fan is upset with the season the Suns had. But there are two schools of thought. This team needs to take the momentum they had, put your eggs in the basket, and say, hey, let's keep moving forward. Let's go after somebody big. Foot on the gas. And then there's others who say, I don't know if you have the resources right now, but in 2030, when you're done paying Bradley Beal, when Devin Booker's deal is up, when you start to get your draft capital back, maybe that's when we compete. Maybe that's when we try to turn it on. And we talked about John Voita yesterday and his tweets about maybe the Suns hit doubles, right? Going gap to gap a little. And stay competitive, stay relevant. But maybe they don't take the big swing for a championship player. John over on the YouTube, shout out to YouTube. By the way, John, I am sorry. Yesterday was a tough day for your Giants. I understand the resentment towards me right now, given the Phillies walked them off twice yesterday in a doubleheader. But John over on the YouTube says they need a better bench. And I get it. But I think when they were running at their best, they would run 11 guys out there, 12 guys out there. The bench, while not maybe their strength, certainly wasn't what was holding them back. The bench kind of stepped in and did a lovely job during a ton of injuries this year. During conversations in which we didn't know what Devin Booker was going to be or what it meant when Devin Booker was out. When Jalen Green missed all that time in the beginning of the season, comes back, you get that one great game, you're so excited, and then immediately out again. When Dylan Brooks missed time, and that was a big knock. Mark Williams continually missed time throughout the season. And that's another thing we'll get into. Colin Gillespie, a free agent. Mark Williams, a free agent. Tons of conversations the Suns are going to need to have this offseason if they are going to want continuity, as Brian Gregory said. If they want continuity into next year, is continuity bringing back Mark Williams? Is it bringing back Colin Gillespie? Jordan Goodwin? What does that mean for guys like Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal? What kind of continuity are we talking about? Are we talking about it with the three that I've continuously brought up? Are we talking about it through the entire bench? Are we talking about it through the starting five? What does continuity look like? I wouldn't expect major moves because I know a name that's going to be thrown out there quite a bit this offseason is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't expect the Suns to be in on that conversation. And I think yesterday's press conference proved that. It's one of those off seasons for the Suns where I think they're going to take small swings. It's how do those small swings work out? I've said this time and time again on this show. Last year, it was a paint by number for Brian Gregory. While a tough offseason in moving on from Bradley Beal, moving on from Kevin Durant, there was an order to things. There was an outline. They're going to trade Kevin Durant, and for a while it felt like it was going to be the Rockets. There was other players involved, but I think all of us had the Rockets as the early favorite. All of us saw that deal kind of come into fruition, and it did. And then Bradley Beal. We knew they were going to want to move on from Bradley Beal. You shopped him around. You tried to move him. That wasn't going to get it done. So you had to eat it. But you needed Bradley Beal off this roster. And then you got into the draft. You selected Kaman Malawach and Rasheer Fleming as the two guys that really helped you. Kobe Bray didn't see much time this year. But two guys that you picked up in the draft that I think we would all argue were pieces for this Suns team down the stretch. So all in all, it was a good offseason for Brian Gregory last year. But there was a lot of steps that were laid out for it. This year, there's no roadmap. This year, there's no instruction book. It's Brian Gregory with an open world of free agency. With Mark Williams up for a new contract, Colin Gillespie up for a new contract, Jordan Goodwin up for a new contract. Plenty of names on this Suns team may not be wearing a Suns jersey next year. But the one thing that Brian Gregory doubled down on time and time again is one word: continuity. There was a lot of quotes yesterday. We may get into more of them as the show continues on. I want to do a segment on if they were to make a big swing, what could it possibly look like? But the one thing that came up in multiple quotes was the word continuity. So for the Suns, that's what I think it will be. Coming up next on the lunch break, the Diamondbacks, they lose 2 of 3 to the Brewers on the road. But do they have a bigger issue on their hands? That's coming up next on KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Was Kevin Durant out because it is a 7-game series and we could afford to lose a game? Maybe. I was surprised to see him on the bench. Everyone was surprised. The odds makers were surprised. Who knew that the Houston Rockets without Durant can't find someone to make a bucket? You know, Sengun's a very good player, and in years past, he might have been the guy to try and carry the load, but it didn't look good at all for the Rockets without KD.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m.
Chicago Sticks, the Windy Cities Tour. Finally, 2 iconic bands together for the first time. September 1st, Mortgage Matchup Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Chicago and Sticks. All the hits, your kind of tour.
When I was a kid, my dream wasn't a mansion. It wasn't a yacht. It was a 250cc Kawasaki dirt bike sitting in the garage. That garage and that bike represented freedom. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello. At A1 Garage Door Service, we know your garage holds more than tools. It holds dreams. From repairs to upgrades, call A1 Garage Door Service today or schedule online at a1garage.com.
A1 from day one.
Casino Arizona is uniquely Arizona. Feel at home with the Valley's one true locals casino, from the welcoming, friendly smiles to the slot win high five celebrations. Picture yourself with the coolest cast at our blackjack tables. Dine like a rock star at our buffet or Choya Steakhouse, where even the steaks are famous. Want to stack up rewards while having fun at your favorite casino? Join Salt River Rewards, and the excitement keeps rising with every return visit. Casino Arizona, uniquely Arizona. You must be 21 years of age or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
For nearly 25 years, Primavera has helped thousands of Arizona students succeed with an accredited world-class education, tuition-free and from home. Don't wait. Enroll today at chooseprimavera.com. That's chooseprimavera.com.
AAA membership travels with you in any car, whether driver or passenger. It's 24/7 expert help with towing, battery, and branch services across the valley. Join AAA for less than $6 a month and add loved ones for half off. Call or visit your local branch today.
knocked out the Rockets at home, minus Kevin Durant, and this time with Austin Reeves, and a double-digit lead, and you failed again. Oh, and with the newly appointed GOAT, LeBron James. I say that because he effectively told ESPN that he was, and they still went into the tank. Rocket Jabari Smith was on record before the game as saying the Rockets are the better team, to which LeBron said, who cares? I'm too old for that bleep. Exactly. That's the problem. You're too old for that bleep. And you're gassing out while the Rockets have young, fresh legs and their swagger is back. Now, Braun, you got to get on a plane, go back to Houston, and deal with a Game 6. I don't think I need to remind you, alleged GOAT, that no NBA team has ever choked away a 3-0 series lead. Do that, and I'm going to take you out of the two-hole in the GOAT conversation, and then the debate turns to whether or not you're even in the top 5. I'm Jim Rome. And remember, you can follow me on Instagram at Jim Rome. Jim Rome here. True story. I married the best person I've ever met, Janet, and we've been married a long time. And the one thing that she loves above all else, I kid you not, pictures. She's constantly taking pictures of everybody and everything. Can't get enough of them. So I found the best gift ever, Aura Frames. Save on gifts that moms love at auraframes.com. For a limited time, get $25 off the Carver mat frame with code ROME. Support this show by mentioning the Jim Rome Show at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply. That's code ROME at auraframes.com.
O'Reilly. Save money on your next full synthetic oil change at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $35.95. We can recommend all the oil change supplies you need. Shop your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
ASU Weekend Baseball happening over on KAZG 1440. Join the Sun Devils on the diamond this Friday as they travel to Florida to take on UCF. Head coach Willie Bloomquist is ready to start off May baseball with a road win. Join the voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, on the call live. It's game 1 between ASU and the University of Central Florida. Pregame at 2:45 p.m. and first pitch at 3 over on KAZG 1440.
It's Friday, and it is the lunch break. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the lunch break. Don't be afraid to give us a call, 480-864-1060. You can give us a call here. You can hop on over to the YouTube chat. Let us know your thoughts over there. Brian from Chandler with a great shout out. Thank you, Brian. Yes, it has been a little bit of a great run since the Phillies let go of Rob Thompson. They're 3-0 with a sweep over Giants. And then a couple Sixers wins gets them to Game 7. Game 7, Sixers Celtics on Saturday. Flyers moved on past round 1. They'll play in Game 1 also on Saturday. Busy Saturday. We also have the Kentucky Derby Saturday. We're going to touch on that. I'm going to do my own little run of weekend winners. I'll give a horse pick. Not that I know much about horses, but we're going to give some picks. Feel free to put your Kentucky Derby pick in the chat. Give us a call. Again, 480-864-1060. Before we get into the Diamondbacks, you can also listen to us on the free KDUS AM 1060 app. Listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the New York Mets at Chase Field on Saturday, May 9th. Calling all Jedi and Rebels. It's Star Wars night. Join the Arizona Diamondbacks as they take on the New York Mets Saturday, May 9th. The first 25,000 fans to the game will receive a Gabriel Moreno Mandalorian bauble, courtesy of Cox. Come dressed and ready to use the Force. Claim your tickets now at dbacks.com. Again, you got to listen for what I believe is an hour, 2 hours on the app, and you get your chance for Saturday, May 9th for tickets. And if you get in early, you can get yourself a Gabriel Moreno bobblehead, which is timely because at the end of this hour, we're going to be talking about Gabriel Moreno. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the catcher of the Arizona Diamondbacks. is back and is reinstated from the 10-day injured list this morning. We'll get into all of that at 11:45. But for this week, it's been tough so far for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They lose 2 of 3 to the Milwaukee Brewers. And it was another bullpen-heavy day yesterday for the team. And it's something we touched on yesterday. It has been now 7 consecutive starts where D-backs starting pitching is now averaging under 4 innings. By the way, the Diamondbacks have already gotten started today. First 2 hitters have reached for them. They are in Chicago. They start their series. Geraldo Perdomo singled, and then Ildemaro Vargas, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that is now 24 straight games starting the year, 26-game hit streak, or 27-game hit streak, maybe total, for Ildemaro Vargas, as he already racks up a single, the second batter of the game. Congratulations to him. That will be a very fun storyline for us to cover, because really the record since 1940 is 30 games. So for Ildemaro Vargas, he is knocking on that door. 24 straight games to start the season with his single today. As they start their series with the Cubs, the D-backs need length from their starting pitching. Today, it'll be Zach Gallen. He has not towed the rubber yet, but he will in the bottom of the first inning. And they're going to need length because, like I just told you, it is now 7 straight games where Diamondback starting pitching is averaging less than 4 innings. And they just can't sustain that. We talked about it yesterday. You are on pace for 5 members of your bullpen to throw more innings and get more into more games than they have ever been. This team has a lot of bullpen usage. And by the way, the D-backs, for the first time, have a left-handed option in their bullpen. Congratulations. I was very tough on them this offseason, this spring training, when it was announced that this team would not have a left-handed option. Playing in your division, knowing that the Dodgers have lefties galore towards the top of their lineup, you were going to play without a lefty option. That no longer. Diamondbacks have added a lefty to their pen. With all that being said, it is no longer sustainable for this team to need 12 to 15 outs every day from this bullpen. It's not possible. This bullpen coming into the year, let's face it, we didn't have much faith in. This bullpen last year was one of the worst in all of baseball. Meltdown Mountain, the meltdown meter, whatever we call it. Now Meltdown Mountain, I believe it was just Meltdown Meter last year, was created because of the struggles of this bullpen. So you came into this year saying, well, they didn't really address much other than our famous line, they threw a couple darts at a dartboard. Can this work out here? Can this work out there? But all in all, to this point, I think we're excited. I think we're happy about where the bullpen has been. And not that it's been perfect every day. Certainly not that. I don't think the starting pitching has been great. It wasn't great yesterday. And the bullpen has not been great yesterday. But they need length from starters. And I asked this question not because winning isn't important, but because thinking about this first 60-game stretch might be more important. Is it more important this week for the D-backs to take 2 of 3 in Chicago, or for them to get 2 or 3 starts of 6 innings or more? Even if you risk losing the series, is it more important to get length? All honesty, it's one of those questions that has kind of rattled around my brain this morning. We've talked about time and time again This first 60 games is a sprint for the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you can get through it around 500, whether it be slightly above or at 500, you feel really good about where you're at. Playing some of the best teams in baseball, playing some of the toughest teams in baseball. Some of those teams, the Phillies, the Mets, maybe not as tough as you once saw them, but still rosters that spend a lot of money. Still rosters that are worth quite a bit more than yours. Today you play the Cubs, off to a 19-12 start. They've been great. You started with the Dodgers in LA. You got swept, is what it is. But this team is still swimming above 500. 16-14 to this point. And yes, I know it's important to continue to rack up the wins in this stretch. But is it more important to get length? Is it more important to save this bullpen for the next 5 series? Because at what point is this going to be gassed? They have already started making the moves, moving guys around, calling people up. Yesterday, a name we invoked is Cade Stroud, a guy who has pitched to a sub-1 ERA in Reno. A guy who has been dominant in a very hitter-friendly ballpark in Reno. Is it time for the D-backs to make that call? I know it was a tough spring for Cade after you acquired him in a trade for Blaze Alexander, but this is a guy that we thought you could rely on. A guy who gets a ton of ground balls. Sinker, cutter guy. He's going to jam people. He's going to break bats, force a lot of weak contact, can pitch with runners on, get a ground ball, get the double plays, get out of tough innings, get out of tough jams. Is it time for the D-backs to make a few moves and say, okay, here's what we need to do. We need to put ourselves in position to play for the next 10 to 20 games. Not just a series in Chicago. So it was a tough series. You were able to take one that Wednesday game in Milwaukee before you lost yesterday in the finale. It's a 3-game set with the Cubs. We will get into previewing this weekend's matchups in hour number 2. But coming up next, we talked about it yesterday, but a Rodgers rumor continues to circle the Cardinals. Has it or will it ever make sense for Arizona to bring in the future Hall of Famer? That's next here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
Hey, it's Audrey from the David Mahoney Morning Show. So much of what makes a family happy is what takes place in our homes. And some of that is creating a mess, whether it's picking up a kid from soccer practice, baseball practice, and all of that yuck being brought into your home carpets or onto your hardwood or tile. And Zero Res actually has something that can help. They can handle every single surface in your homes, like carpets, tile, grout, hardwood, LVP, stone, upholstery, rugs, and even air ducts. I've recently used Zero Res and they do an amazing job. And I have pets, okay? And my pets might be dirtier than your kids. Actually, after further review, probably not. But this month, get Zero Resified starting at just $45 per room and get a whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $4.99. You owe it to yourself and to your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res right now at 480-507-2419 or go online at ZeroResPhoenix.com and say you want the KDUS special. Spell it backwards or forwards. It all spells the same. Zero Res.
John Mellencamp. Dancing Words Tour. The greatest hits. August 9th. Talking
Majestic Resort Amphitheater. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. John Mellencamp, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Is the crew on their way so we can fire up the grill?
Cabrito, arrachera. They're gonna love it.
Better go with birria and carne en su jugo. Classic Jalisco dishes with tradition.
That seasoning is great, but northern Mexican-style meat speaks for itself. Let's make bold.
Deal. And to boost the flavor, ice-cold Pepsi. Its sweetness pairs perfectly.
And to go with it, flour tortillas.
And corn ones too. Hey, carne asada deserves Pepsi.
Meineke always treats your car like it's their own. With over 50 years of experience, Meineke's certified technicians will diagnose and fix any issue with precision and care. Schedule an appointment at Meineke.com. Trust your key with Meineke. Meineke, doing car care right.
Big fat news. Del yeah. Big Fat Tacos are back at Del Taco. Get these toasty flatbread tacos with seasoned beef, grilled chicken, or carne asada steak. Right now, grab 2 grilled chicken Big Fat Tacos for just $6 small. Need a little something extra? For a limited time, score Del's classic snack tacos with seasoned beef and fresh house grated cheddar for just 59 cents each. Only at Del Taco. Price and participation may vary.
Superstar Car Wash, the car wash with superpowers. Sign up for a free car wash today. That's right, totally free for a limited time. Because we love what makes you shine. See website for details.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Tom Izzo, Michigan State head basketball coach.
I've had more than a couple job offers in the NBA and looked at one last year with Phoenix, and my former player, Matt Ishbia. And that was hard. That was a hard thing to turn down because, number one, I kind of wanted to go with him. Number two,
so they offered you the head coaching job?
Well, we talked seriously about it, let's say that.
Weekdays, 6 to 9 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back into the lunch break. My name is Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert. Chris a little under the weather on a Friday. We got a big weekend here in the Valley. D-backs at it for 3 in Chicago. They are underway. In the bottom of the first, they have the bases loaded against Zach Gallen, who's already thrown 15 pitches. So looking to get out of the inning for Zach because it has been a taxing week for the bullpen, and so far not off to a great pitch count for the Diamondbacks starter. Ildemaro Vargas did extend his hit streak with a single in the first inning. I want to talk about the Cardinals. The quarterback room has been a lot discussed here, obviously for good reason. For the first time in a long time, we don't know who will start. Well, we kind of do know who will start for the Arizona Diamondbacks, but his name won't be Kyler Murray. As of now, we believe it will be Jacoby Brissett, but it was a 3rd-round pick that selected Carson Beck, 65th overall. And then it wasn't long after that, before today, that some dots started getting connected. After Nathaniel Hackett a few months back was named as the offensive coordinator, naturally the name to follow was Aaron Rodgers. And the 4-time league MVP is still a free agent after his last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers and his 1-year deal, and has not made a decision whether he'll come back to play. Now, Pittsburgh is in constant communication, as it's been reported, with Aaron. But one dot that's been connected to another says, well, why might the Cardinals be interested? You have Jacoby Brissett, who I think a lot of us presume is the starter, asking for more money. You have a roster that added a young quarterback that has talent in the best tight end in football, a receiving core in Marvin Harrison Jr., who hasn't lived up to what people think he could be, but ton of talent out there. Michael Wilson, who had not only the best year of his career, but a very productive finish to the season that allows us all to kind of believe in the future of Michael Wilson. The offensive line needs some help, no doubt about it. But you have pieces on this offense that are missing a quarterback and maybe some help at right tackle. And so I think a lot of people have started drawing the dots and saying, why not Aaron Rodgers? Why not the future first ballot Hall of Famer? I get it. Does it make sense? It does. Played for Matt LaFleur, Mike's brother, in Green Bay with Nathaniel Hackett. A team that has worked together before and was extremely productive for 2 MVPs for Aaron Rodgers. A quarterback offensive coordinator duo that has taken the league by storm at the time. They got Nathaniel Hackett a job in New York when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback there. Didn't go well, but that was the second time around. First time around, it certainly had its moments of greatness. Denver hired Nathaniel Hackett under the belief that they could get Aaron Rodgers to force a trade out of Green Bay to play for Nathaniel Hackett in Denver. That's why they wanted him as their head coach. So sources around the league say, well, maybe Arizona brought him in for a similar reason. Maybe Arizona saw their quarterback situation and said, why don't we bring in Aaron Rodgers? So I want to talk about it again. Does it make sense for this team? Chris did yesterday a segment where he went on to explain why he would hate it. Why it doesn't make sense for this football team. And the one biggest thing that I thought he added was, does Aaron Rodgers make this team too good? Not that they're going to be a playoff team if they add Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that's the case. But does he make them good enough for their floor to be 6 wins? At 6 wins, you can't draft the quarterback of the future for this organization. We all believe they're playing for next year, using Jacoby Brissett as the bridge guy. So they're going to draft a guy after that? They're going to make that pick after? Doesn't make sense. Does it? For Aaron, it's all about finding a team he can compete on. And for the Cardinals, it's all about putting yourself in the best position for the future of this organization. So yeah, it may make sense in the short term to bring in Rodgers. I think even you rewind the clock to before free agency, to before the draft, I would say it made a little bit of sense for Aaron Rodgers to be an Arizona Cardinal. I really think that. I could sit down and say, hey, depending who they bring in as their head coach, depending who they decide to draft, what they do in the receiver room, how they add on the offensive line, Aaron Rodgers can make sense here. And even when they hired Mike LaFleur and then brought in Nathaniel Hackett, I still think it made sense. I still think it was a feasible move for this organization. But with the way they handled free agency, with the way they handled the draft, drafting Jeremiah Love 3rd overall, and then taking Carson Beck 65th overall, it doesn't make sense anymore. To me, Carson Beck was drafted with the belief that we have to take a chance on a quarterback. In a similar way to how the New Orleans Saints took a chance on Tyler Shuck, you can take a chance on Carson Beck. If it doesn't work out, we'll draft our guy next year. But it gives them the opportunity to let a young quarterback play this year. And so for Arizona, it was the right move to play for next year, play for Jacoby Brissett to be the starter this year, But then you flipped script and said, let's draft Carson Beck. Let's get a young quarterback in the building. And now I don't really know what to do with that pick. And now with rumors of Aaron Rodgers running rampant, why even draft Carson Beck? You take the value out of the pick if you do this. You draft Carson Beck in the third round with the hopes that he might be something, but you're only going to give him 1 year to start, and you believe the starter is going to be Jacoby Brissett. So you're not even going to give Carson Beck the full year to start. Where can you really see the commitment to a young quarterback if he does show flashes in 6 games? What if they go 1-5? Carson Beck starts 6 games. Are they not going to draft somebody at the top of the draft? All year, Jacoby Brissett struggles. They pass it along to Carson Beck. He looks good, but they struggle and they go 1-5. Are they not going to move on? Are they not going to say, hey, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, whoever it may be at the top of the draft, Darian Mensah, whoever it may be, Sam Levitt. This is going to be what people believe a generational quarterback class. And this quarterback room continues to get more and more fogged up. And with a rumor of Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe it did before free agency. Maybe it did right when you brought Mike LaFleur into this room. But simply put, this makes no sense anymore. You're playing for next year. You didn't draft Ty Simpson, in which case I think bringing in a veteran like Aaron Rodgers may have helped him. But you got through the draft. You took Carson Beck. It's not like you develop Carson Beck with the idea he's going to be your franchise quarterback. We're going to give him 3 to 5 years of runway, 3 years of runway to see if we can get this plane off the ground. No. You're going to give him, 8 games as a third-round pick? That's why we hated the pick in the first place. How much runway does Carson Beck actually get? How's it going to work? This offensive line is bad. So adding Aaron Rodgers into this mix, you're not doing it to develop Carson Beck. You're doing it to be relevant this year. And to be relevant this year doesn't make any sense because in 3 years down the line, in 5 years down the line, how are you going to get back on your feet? You have a young coach. You have a GM who's been here. And now you have a young quarterback. Your timelines are all out of whack, and adding Aaron Rodgers to this room does not help that. Simply put, this makes no sense anymore for the Arizona Cardinals. This isn't something that can happen. This isn't something that we can be excited about if they bring in Aaron Rodgers. I've been the biggest Rodgers fan for most of his career. This is a quarterback who has arm talent with the best of them, who can make any throw on the field, who still to this day, while not as mobile, can make most of the throws out there, who has an arm that still competes with the best of them across the league at age 40. But this is a quarterback who does not make sense for this organization. He would win them one too many games before he steps out into retirement. He would put them in a position not to take the future of this organization, and he would stunt the growth of the quarterback they actually have in the room tomorrow in Carson Beck. You need Carson Beck to start games. We know it's going to be a short runway. Adding Aaron Rodgers to that mix only takes more off that runway. That's it. Simply put, there's no way this ever makes sense for this organization. I get upset that their timeline and their time tracks, however you want to put it, are off right now. Monty, not on the same page as Mike LaFleur, who's not on the same page as a young running back who comes in the building as he could be with the quarterback. All of it's a little out of whack. Adding Aaron Rodgers to this room only makes that worse. And does it put you in a position to draft the quarterback of the future for this organization? Because that's what it's all about. It's about this organization competing in 2-3 years, being relevant for this division for a long time. Why would Aaron Rodgers want to come into a division where he would be on the worst team out of 4 and leaps and bounds behind what was 3 top-tier playoff teams in the NFC? 3 teams that were in the NFC divisional round last year. Doesn't make sense. And it doesn't help the Cardinals get anywhere. Doesn't make sense for either side. Simply put, I don't think there's any legs here. But I wanted to talk about it again because if I seemed more positive about it yesterday, I don't think I fully thought about the ramifications of bringing Aaron Rodgers into a room in which you need to get Carson Beck serious playing time to get your answer on what you have in this room before you draft one next year. Coming up next on the lunch break, we finish hour number 1. The D-backs catcher, Gabriel Moreno, not only reinstated, but back in the lineup today. There's a lot to be excited about for the D-backs as they start a 3-game set with the Cubs. That's coming up next here on the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The Avett Brothers and Mike Patton present Avett Patton Performing Live at Arizona Financial Theater, May 12th. Avett Patton. On sale now at livenation.com.
Hey, it's Phil Shaver with HomeSmart, and I want to buy your house. I'm a local investor that buys homes for cash all over Maricopa and Pinell County. I buy inherited homes, nice homes, rental homes, homes that are behind on mortgage payments, and I even buy ugly homes that need fixing. Also, are you looking to get closer to market value for your house? As a licensed realtor, I've been able to buy and sell thousands of homes. Since I'm local, you can call me directly on my cell phone, 480-409-9999. Again, that's 480-409-9999. I don't work for a big corporation or hedge fund, so I can only buy 3 to 5 homes per month. There are no fees involved, and you can pick your own close date. The best part is I buy homes as is, so you don't have to worry about doing any repairs. Again, you can call me directly at 480-409-9999, or you can go to my website, gosoldaz.com. That's gosoldaz.com.
Join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Was Kevin Durant out because it is a 7-game series and we could afford to lose a game? Maybe. I was surprised to see him on the bench. Everyone was surprised. The odds makers were surprised. Who knew that the Houston Rockets without Durant can't find someone to make a bucket? You know, Sengun's a very good player, and in years past, he might have been the guy to try and carry the load, but it didn't look good at all for the Rockets without KD.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m.
Welcome back in. Friday edition of the lunch break. My name is Evan Reiser. Producer Evan, as known here on the show, filling in for Chris Schubert. Chris, out today, a little under the weather, and we got another awesome one here from Code. For those who listen every day, you know our guy, It's All Code over on the YouTube. He's always dropping atrocious for Arch, mope for Manning. But today's may be the best. Avoid Aaron for Arch. Just a heater from Code. Love it. Bringing it over there on the YouTube. Don't be afraid to give us a call, 480-864-1060. And you can join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. Put your chats over there, and I will try to get to them. Again, you can also listen to us on the KDUS AM 1060 app, where you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the New York Mets at Chase Field on Saturday, May 9th. Again, it's Star Wars night. Get in there. First 25,000 in there. Get a Gabriel Moreno Mandalorian bobblehead. New Mandalorian movie coming out. I want to say end of May. End of May sounds right. I want to say May 22nd. I'm not going to pretend I'm not a huge nerd. I'm a huge nerd, as we have that famous drop here. But with all that being said, get in there. First 25,000. Get a Gabriel Moreno bobblehead as the Mandalorian. Speaking of Gabriel Moreno, he is back today, reinstated from the 10-day injured list, and the Diamondbacks catcher is in the lineup today. I feel like I saw he went 0 for 1 to start the day, by the way. 3-0 Cubs. It was a Carson Kelly single that made it 3-0 all in all. Gabriel Moreno 0 for 1 today. He flew out to end the top of the first. But what does it mean for the Arizona Diamondbacks in a time in which they have not been able to get much length from their starters and the starters have struggled? Does it help getting your catcher back, your everyday catcher? And I know there's been guys, Eduardo Rodriguez, one who gets specifically caught more by James McCann. But Gabby Moreno back in the lineup does more than just add the core 4 in the lineup. It does more than just add what is one of the team's best bats back into the 4 spot. What it does is allow this pitching staff to go back to what they're used to, working with Moreno, working with the same catcher every day. And John over on the YouTube just made me laugh. Means McCann can pitch more. Yes. James McCann, a guy who has seemingly become the position player of choice for the Diamondbacks when they go to the position player out of the pen. And I know I was one yesterday to say, let's pull the ripcord on this one early. They lost it to the Brewers. Let's go position player as early as possible, save that bullpen. But Gabby Moreno is back, and what does it mean for the staff? It means that you have a guy back there who's comfortable working with you, a guy you go to work with every day, who's used to calling a Zach Gallen game, who's used to calling a Merrill Kelly game. And pulling it full circle, Merrill Kelly, a guy who has struggled in 2 of his 3 starts since coming back this year, is having Gabby Moreno back up there. Is working with Gabby Moreno going to help Merrill Kelly get back on track? We talked about his velocity being down. We talked about some of his struggles to this point. But having your everyday catcher out there is going to bring a comfortability, is going to bring a factor in which you can't see on the score sheet. Because calling a game is an art for these guys. And to have pitchers you've worked with means all the difference in the world. So you hope having Gabby Moreno back is going to help the staff, and it's certainly going to help the offense. Not that the offense has been the major issue for the Diamondbacks of recent, but it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows for them all year. So having a consistent bat back in the lineup is huge. And as they enter May, and as they get halfway through this 60-game stretch we have so talked about, having Gabby Moreno back is going to provide a difference for this offense, for them defensively, and most importantly for the team, because they need to be above 500 when the end of that 60-game mark hits. Right now, They're all around the playoff spot. Can they finish in one? Another around 500 start for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's it for hour number 1. We'll get into hour number 2 on the other side, and we'll start with the Suns. Is it possible they may go after a big name this offseason? We'll get into it next. The lunch break here on KDUS, AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
I get by with a little help from my friends.
Ringo Starr and his all-star band. With friends, Steve Lukather from Toto. From Men at Work, Colin Hay. From Average White Band, Hamish Stewart. Friday, June 12th, 7:30 p.m., Gamage Auditorium. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Danny Zalesko Presents.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
With a Global Credit Card, you earn reward points for every purchase. Use your rewards at checkout at many of your favorite stores, or use points instead of cash when you shop online. You can even use them to book a flight up to 3 days in advance. New York, Vegas, Albuquerque. From groceries to getaways, redeem your way. Apply for your Global Credit Card now at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
Hey, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. An engagement ring might be one of life's biggest purchases. That's why our rings come with an all-inclusive free lifetime warranty that gives you peace of mind without any fine print. How can we offer such an incredible warranty? We take pride in crafting our rings with care and stand behind our quality craftsmanship. After all, this is a family heirloom you'll own forever. Bring in your ring for cleaning, resizing, and repairs anytime you want. We'll make sure it's as sparkly and secure as the day you bought it, fixing prongs, replacing side stones, and so much more. This type of maintenance could cost you $2,000 or more somewhere else. Under our warranty, it's all free. We even protect your diamond. Other warranties don't. Our rings are crafted to last. But in the rare case you lose your diamond, we'll replace it. At Shane Company, your engagement ring purchase isn't just a one-time transaction. We're here to be your jeweler for life, because a friend always has your back. Come by to learn more in store or visit shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
For nearly 25 years, Primavera has helped thousands of Arizona students succeed with an accredited world-class education, tuition-free and from home. Don't wait. Enroll today at chooseprimavera.com. That's chooseprimavera.com.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
One more hour till the weekend for me. Welcome back into the lunch break. Hope everybody's having a tremendous Friday. Hope everybody's having a great week. Any big plans this weekend? Let me know. Give me a call, 480-864-1060. You can also leave it into the YouTube chat. But it was what we started with today. It was the press conference for Matt Ishbia and Brian Gregory about what they can do this offseason, improving this team. And the one word that was mentioned multiple times by Brian Gregory was continuity. And I think there's been a lot of talk about the Suns maybe making a big move. Maybe making a move that gets them out of the play-in and to be a contender in the Western Conference. And I wanted to sit down and talk, is that even feasible for this basketball team? Can they actually do that? And if they can, what is that move? What do they need for us to really believe that they can be a championship contender, that they can compete with the San Antonios of the world, the Oklahoma Cities of the world? I know that they went and did a long look at their organization last year and said, we need to change the culture. And they did that. Started with Dylan Brooks. You brought in a guy who immediately, from his presence in the locker room to his play on the court, changed the culture like that. As fast as he could, Dylan Brooks' impact was felt just on how the Suns play night in, night out. Not only did that come from the player Dylan Brooks is, but the coach Jordan Knott is. You took a long look internally. You said, we need to change a lot of what goes on around here. And you did it. But like I said in the open of the program, for Brian Gregory, we knew what last offseason was going to be about. There was a lot of talk of changing the culture. There was a lot of talk of making trades. We knew that Kevin Durant was on the to-do list. We knew that Bradley Beal was on the to-do list. They got those things done, and then they had to make, moves on the margins, moves in the draft to try and become better. At the trade deadline, able to get under the luxury tax. So not only are you not a second A-bid team anymore, but now you're under the luxury tax. A lot of really smart financial moves for the Phoenix Suns. This offseason provides a lot more questions. This offseason is going to answer the question I think we've all been asking. How good is Brian Gregory really at this job? He had a great draft. Malowich, they took number 10 overall. And while at times I don't think we thought he was going to be a major factor, and he wasn't, at times we thought we needed more from Kaman Malowich. Towards the back half of the season, he gave the Suns some solid minutes and was a role in what they were able to do. I can't talk more highly of Rasheer Fleming and everything he was able to do this year. Provided a 3-and-D type player to a roster that could now pull one off the bench. Had multiple options. Provided a length that they probably needed defensively. Rasheer Fleming was another guy out of the draft that I thought Brian Gregory hit on. And Kobe Brea, we did not see much this year, but hitting on 2 of the 3 and 1 being a second-round pick, you feel pretty confident in what Brian Gregory was able to get done. But this offseason has a lot more question marks. It's not trade or release and then draft. It is, we're going to have to work through the free agencies. We're going to have to work through, are we bringing Mark Williams back? We're going to have to work through, what are we going to do with Colin Gillespie? What are we going to do with Jordan Goodwin? Then we're going to say, hey, who's available? Are we going to make a trade in any facet? We talked on this show, could it be Devin Booker? I think that out the window. Bang, gone, see ya. Matt Ishbia kind of squashed that yesterday. And although he said, do we take calls about opportunistic ideas? Of course. However, we're not going to do anything silly to mess up the culture and identity. That's what it is about for this team. They want to continue to build the culture. The teams they cited last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Michigan State, obviously, for Matt Ishbia, for Brian Gregory, makes a lot of sense. But I take a look at Miami and what the Heat have done. They have a culture there. And while I know it becomes kind of a joke or a meme, the Heat culture talk, it's true to a certain degree. They have a culture. Guys go there, they play hard. They know what it's expected of them. Eric Spoelstra has built that culture. Pat Riley has built that culture. Comes from the top down, though. Comes from the GM and the owner. And dare I say, in Miami, they are
the alignment,
more aligned than anywhere else. And so for the Suns, the biggest takeaway, well, maybe only said once or twice throughout the whole press conference,
the alignment
is most important for them. Because they don't want to mess up the culture and the identity of this team. They don't want to ruin what they have built this previous offseason. And It's All Code over on the YouTube said, Suns need a long-term plan, and they need to stick with it. Need a hard look at scouting and player development. Suns always seem to be chasing identities of other teams. I know it's a copycat league, but championship organizations typically set the tone themselves. I couldn't agree more. I think that's in any league. Championship organizations that continue to be at the top of the standings, to be competing for championships, set the organization up for success long-term in how they do it, in their own way. The Celtics are an organization that have built a culture and a feeling around their team that is very different than what I think the Miami Heat has done. Both successful in their own right, but they've built their own identities. And it feels like at time Code's right that the Suns have struggled to build their own identity. You take pieces from other teams. I got to hand it to Matt Ishbia, to Brian Gregory. It feels like they are going to stick to building their own identity, and they're not going to let one big fish out there blow that up. This quote is true in every aspect. What do Chris and I always say time and time again for this team, for any team here in the Valley? You pick up the phone. Anybody's available, you pick up the phone, you start dialing. New coach out there, we could pick up a few things from him. You pick up the phone. You never leave a question unasked. You make them answer with no. And you're going to get calls. And that's what Matt Ishbia is saying. We're going to see what's going on around the league. We're going to be in tune. We're going to get calls. We're going to pick up the phone. But we're not going to make the same mistakes we've made in the past. We're not going to add Bradley Beal because he's available. We're not going to add Kevin Durant because he's available. Those are the mistakes a young owner in Matt Ishbia made. An owner who was ready for this team to win a championship. An owner who thought he was going to step in and change it right away. Add Kevin Durant. Add Bradley Beal. Be the difference in why this organization brought home its first NBA title. It didn't work. You shot for the moon and you didn't get through the atmosphere. It was so bad. A colossal failure. The big three was here in Phoenix. And they looked internally and said, okay, we know it was a failure. And so we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. Teams he cited, none of them are NBA teams. The Steelers, it feels like they have a culture probably closer to the Heat. But they do have that allure to them. Michigan State basketball, they have an allure to them, right? The thing they always say is January, February, Izzo. Because you know they're going to compete in March. Because they have that culture. They have that allure to them. Suns don't have that. They never really have. They've had some great teams. The team back in 2021 with Chris Paul, Devin Booker. The team was awesome. DeAndre Ayton, the team was awesome. But it didn't feel like they had a culture that the Miami Heat had. It didn't feel like they had the culture that a Celtics organization has that sustains, that continues on. For the Suns, they lost it. And you can learn from things like that. You took a big swing 2 years ago. It didn't work out. You went back to the drawing board. You said, we're going to build a culture. And I think it happened faster than any of us had ever imagined. All because of you brought in the right coach, you brought in the right players. Don't blow that up because you won 45 games and you feel like you have momentum on your side. Yesterday, we talked about John Vojta saying 2030 is the year for this team to compete. They are going to be big fish out here. You are going to hear about Giannis. You are going to hear other big names getting moved this NBA offseason. That is just something that's going to happen, something that's going to be talked about. But don't let it fool you. Don't let it get in the way of what this organization is building. This is a team that needs to stay above water and be competitive, yes, but can't go all in. They still have Bradley Beal's contract to worry about. They're going to have to get Devin Booker maybe on a different deal. And they're going to have to get their draft picks back. And we are 4 years removed from any of that happening. And that's okay. This team can be competitive for the next few years before going all in 2030, 2031. You need to get a reset. And it's not going to take 1 year. This was the first year, and a very impressive first year of a reset for this organization. But they are 3 to 4 years from it being complete, and that's okay. But in the meantime, they're going to build their culture. It started with this year. It started with hard-nosed basketball night in and night out. Even the nights they didn't have it, you were proud to say, I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. You were excited to watch the games because last year you were never excited to watch the games. You dreaded watching that team lose the same way in the fourth quarter every night. And yeah, the Suns had their flaws this year. I'm not saying they were a perfect basketball team. I'm not saying the game in Boston didn't happen. I'm not saying that they didn't struggle in the first play-in game. I'm not running from any of those facts. All I'm saying is this team built a culture in the 82 games they played this year, plus the 2 play-in and the playoffs. In the 88 total games, they built a culture. They built an identity. They need to continue to build that and not let an available free agent trade or anything under the sun ruin what you continue to build for the next 3 to 4 years. So that's what it's about for the Suns. Play for your future rather than the right now. D-backs, they have 3 games in Chicago. What's the most important thing for them to walk away with? We get into that next as we motor on here on the Friday edition of Lunch Break. KDUS, AM 1060.
ASU Weekend Baseball happening over on KAZG 1440. Join the Sun Devils on the diamond this Friday as they travel to Florida to take on UCF. Head coach Willie Bloomquist is ready to start off May baseball with a road win. Join the voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, on the call live. It's game 1 between ASU and the University of Central Florida. Pregame at 2:45 p.m. and first pitch at 3 over on KAZG 1440.
Hurt in a crash? Call the accident attorneys at Sweet James, 800-9 million. The system is rigged. Insurance companies protect themselves. Sweet James protects you. 2 billion won. 500 trials, 98% winning record. They put power and respect on your side. Pay no fees unless they win. 800-9 million. 800-900-0000 and sweetjames.com.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9 million. Just call Sweet James. Your accident attorneys.
Santana, Oneness Tour 2026. The power, the energy. Come celebrate your favorite hits from Woodstock to Supernatural and beyond. With very special guest, the Doobie Brothers. Friday, August 14th, Mortgage Matchup Center. On sale now at livenation.com. Santana and Doobie Brothers, Oneness Tour 2026.
On May 3rd, experience the hits, the history, and the harmony that defined a generation. War, live at Stargazer Pavilion at Cliff Castle Casino Hotel. After decades of iconic hits, you can watch War live at Cliff Castle on May 3rd. With tickets starting at just $45, get yours today at cliffcastlecasinohotel.com or at the Hunt and Gather gift shop.
When I scraped my car in that parking garage, I was worried that it could be a long process to take care of it. Like a landscaper's first day trimming a hedge maze.
I have definitely already been here. Now, was it left, right, or right, left? Well, maybe I'll cut a path out and find my way back later.
But it wasn't like that. I filed a claim in under 2 minutes on the Geico app, and they handled it from there. It was taken care of almost as quickly as it happened.
It feels good to get help quick. It feels good to Geico.
At least enough of an idea of how this would unfold. Instead, the playoffs have been chaotic. Beyond OKC, the postseason has been defined by unpredictability. The Pistons now face elimination against the 8-seeded Magic. Denver, a team with championship caliber, knocked out by Minnesota, and doing so without their best player, Anthony Edwards. Not to mention the 76ers. They pushed Boston to the brink. This is what makes the postseason so compelling. The script everybody thought that they were going to be reading got shredded. In a league often criticized for feeling too predictable, this year's playoffs have been just the opposite. Star power still matters, but the certainty that we expected has vanished, and it's making for quite an outstanding couple of months for the NBA. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. 2 words, prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis. When money's tight and you're behind, it can be tough to play catch up. But Liberty Mutual can help you make a comeback, a fourth quarter go-ahead drive, if you will. Liberty Mutual is clutch by customizing your car and home insurance to save you money, especially when you bundle. It's insurance built for real people with a team that works hard to help keep more of what matters most in your pocket, money. Liberty, 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 liberty. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local independent agent, libertymutual.com.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
Welcome back in. Friday edition of the lunch break. Don't worry, no Chris. We're still going to do our weekend winners. I'm going to make a derby pick, I think, at the end of the, 12:30, about 15 minutes from now. But we get into the leftovers, and then we'll hand it off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. But before all that, the D-backs, they have 3 games in Chicago this weekend. It started this morning right around 12. I think it was an 11:30 start for them. Down 3-1 in the fourth. Zach Gallen gave up 3 in the first, but has settled down for 2 scoreless after. And right now, the Diamondbacks were able to tack 1 on in the second to make it 3-1 and start what has been the answer backs all year. Nolan Arenado is on first base as they try to tie it up. But it's 3 games in Chicago. And earlier I touched on it, is what does this series mean for the Diamondbacks? You're 2 games over 500. You're 16-14 right now. You feel really good about where you're at. You may not be in a playoff spot right now. You may just be outside the wild card picture looking in. But this is a schedule that's relentless 30 games in for the Diamondbacks, the teams they played, the Dodgers, the Tigers, the Phillies, and the Mets, not as great as we expected, but you played them on a road trip. You got San Diego in Mexico City, who's been scorching to start the season. Chicago right now, you've had a gauntlet in the early part of this season. And it's a big reason why we said for the Diamondbacks, it's going to be that 60-game sprint. It's going to be the beginning part of the season that matters most for them. So far, they've been able to capitalize for the most part. In doing so, it's been a lot of innings for this bullpen. In doing so, you had a shaky offense, and at times it has felt like smoke and mirrors. Yesterday, we talked about the success of Nolan Arenado. It's been great so far. It's been a great month of April. You dive into the numbers, you don't really understand how. You don't really understand how he's been successful to this point. Little smoke and mirrors for him. I don't know how he's hitting 6 home runs to this point with the lack of hard hit baseballs and the chase rate being up and all of the bad stats really being the highest they have been in his career. You take a look under the hood and you don't understand how that happens. One thing you don't have to take a look under the hood for is to see the pitching has been struggling. It's most important for this Diamondbacks team for starting pitching to get back on track. And it wasn't the best start for Zach Gallen today. And at times in his career, and I've been the first to call it out, I haven't been the biggest Zach Gallen fan in his career. He's been so inconsistent. Over the last 2 years, he has been the inconsistent marker in this Diamondbacks rotation. Where Merrill Kelly has been the steady hand, the guy to calm everybody down. Where Merrill Kelly has been the, okay, guys, put it on me. Zach Gallen hasn't. He may give you great starts. His second start of the year this year, fantastic. Let's rewind the clock a whole year ago. His second start of the year in New York. Struck out 13 Yankees. It was fantastic. He was great towards the end of the year last year. Fantastic. Was really a big reason in why the Diamondbacks made a push down the stretch. But what they can't do this year is inconsistency. He's been a big problem in this rotation. Merrill Kelly, since he's come back, has been a problem, no doubt about it. But when you're looking to Mike Soroka, to Eduardo Rodriguez, to be like, calm everybody. We're going to be the guy that every 5th day comes out and gives you a legitimate start. That can't be good enough for this baseball team. You can't rely on those guys. That's not going to work. And that's why when I look at Zach Gallen through 3 innings today, already 3 runs, 3 hits, all of which earned. And more importantly, he's walked 3 batters and he only has the 2 strikeouts. There are great starts mixed in. I'm not saying there aren't. But there's too much inconsistency. And that's what it's about for this Diamondbacks rotation. The most important thing for them is to get this rotation back on track. Early in the year, they were getting great starts from Eduardo Rodriguez. It allowed them to win the Braves series. It allowed them to steal games. He has been fantastic for this baseball team. I mean, they won games 1-0 that I didn't even think they could do early in the year. You've gotten more out of the back end of this rotation than you ever deemed or thought possible. In your wildest dreams, you didn't think you were going to get the start from Eduardo Rodriguez or Mike Soroka that you did. But it's been the top half of that rotation. It's been Ryan Nelson. It's been Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, who have been wildly inconsistent. Who can't, every time they're out there, give you a chance to win. Who can't get you 6 innings. Zach Gallen's in the 4th inning. He already has 70 pitches today. By the way, only 40 of those strikes. been a struggle for Zach. And he's walked 3 guys today, and he's given up the 3 earned already in Chicago. And I can't help but ask, like, you're going to need, again, 15 outs plus from this bullpen. Who knows if Zach's able to get through the 4th? And even him getting to the 5th is the longest we've seen in a week. It's too long for this baseball team to get inconsistent starts. It's too long. You can't consistently be getting starts that only get you into the 5th inning. It's unsustainable. You cannot win in Major League Baseball like that. You can't do it. So for the Diamondbacks, I get how important it is to stay above water. But today, Zach, I'm throwing him. I need 5 innings at least out of him. I need you to get me to the 6th. And so far, 72 pitches into his start, I'm not out of the 4th. How am I going to get him through 6? He's averaging more than 20 pitches an inning. So for the rest of the way, for the rest of this week, we're going to talk about a team that's going to need great starts on Saturday. Saturday, they're going to turn and say, we need 6 innings again. And who knows if they can get it from Ryan Nelson. Ryan Nelson has really been on the struggle bus recently. The fastball, which we know he loves to use, hasn't been as good. And Merrill Kelly will get the ball on Sunday, and we know how that's gone to this point. The last 2 starts have been shaky at best. Matt over on the YouTube said, I think it's been a tough time for Zach all around. I don't blame him for saying that. It's been a tough time for Zach really since the start of the year. There's been great starts mixed in, but inconsistency has been what has burned this team, what has burned this pitching staff. You cannot sustain not getting deep starts from this rotation. This bullpen, who has done more than asked for, has been better than advertised, and has better than we ever dreamed, can't continue to pitch this much. It will fall apart. The wheels will fall off the car if this continues. Right now, they still have the wheels on, and they need to fix it quick before this turns into a complete catastrophe. And they've already started making moves. They've already started looking down to the minors, because right now you have a majority of this bullpen on pace to pitch career highs in innings pitched and appearances. Period. That's it. You need better starting pitching. Doesn't matter how much you win in Chicago. It matters how many innings you can get. And so far, they're not off to a great start on Friday. Weekend winners coming up. We got a Derby pick. Feel free to leave yours in the YouTube chat. Give us a call. 480-864-1060. Don't be afraid to let us know who else you think could win this weekend. I know we got a Game 7 in the NBA. We got some Game 6s tonight. 3 Game 6s and a Game 7 tomorrow. We have NHL playoffs continuing. A lot of stuff to pick weekend winners on. You can put them over there on the YouTube chat. We'll get into that next here on the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Tom Izzo, Michigan State head basketball coach.
I've had more than a couple job offers in the NBA and looked at one last year with Phoenix, and my former player, Matt Ishbia. And that was hard. That was a hard thing to turn down because, number one, I kind of wanted to go with him.
Wait, so they offered you the head coaching job?
Well, we talked seriously about it. Let's say that.
Weekdays, 6 to 9 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Hey, it's Audrey from the David Mahoney Morning Show. So much of what makes a family happy is what takes place in our homes. And some of that is creating a mess, whether it's picking up a kid from soccer practice, baseball practice, and all of that yuck being brought into your home carpets or onto your hardwood or tile. And Zero Res actually has something that can help. They can handle every single surface in your homes like carpets, tile, grout, hardwood, LVP, stone, upholstery, rugs, and even air ducts. I've recently used Zero Res and they do an amazing job. And I have pets, okay? And my pets might be dirtier than your kids. Actually, after further review, probably not. But this month, get Zero Resified starting at just $45 per room and get a whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $4.99. You owe it to yourself and to your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res right now at 480-507-2419 or go online at ZeroResPhoenix.com and say you want the KDUS special. Spell it backwards or forwards. It all spells the same. Zero Res.
Motley Crue, the return of the Carnival of Sins. September 16th, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater. The Crew celebrates the 20th anniversary of Carnival of Sins. Motley Crue, with performances by Tesla and Extreme. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Motley Crue, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
If you're a pro, you know you need paint and primer fast, and the Home Depot has you covered with same-day or next-day deliveries so you can stay on site and on schedule. Get high-quality Behr paints and Kills primers delivered right to your job site. And with the Home Depot app, reordering is faster than ever. Just pick your paint, track your order, and get your go-to color in no time. No delays, no extra trips, just the paint and primer you need when you need it. The Home Depot. How pros get more done. Limitations may apply. Not available in all markets. See store for details.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Hello?
Hey, sis. Got a sec?
Yeah, what's up?
Take a look at the picture I just sent you. I'm walking into Hellsburg and want to get Mom something special for Mother's Day.
Yeah, she's done so much for us this year. Let's see. Diamond pendant. Oh, she'd love this.
Great. I'll get this, which means you're in charge of flowers.
Okay, deal.
This Mother's Day, save up to 50% on timeless gifts for Mom. Shop at a store near you or at Hellsburg.com.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RT O'Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RT O'Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
Welcome back in. Friday edition of the lunch break. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's the weekend winners time. I unfortunately do not have the weekend winners music on my computer, which I am learning right now during the last break. So no music for the weekend winners, which is very unfortunate. I'm sorry, everybody, but we have no music. But does not take away from who we think is going to win this weekend. We got a ton of comments over on the YouTube chat. And we're going to get into those. I want to give you my weekend winners. We'll start with the NBA because I think I'm going to make a pick in every game. No Chris today. So we're going to do the scores, who we like in them. We'll do the game 6s and the game 7 tomorrow. And I'll let everybody know what I think will happen. In game 6 tonight, Orlando leads Detroit in a 3-2 series. I think Detroit forces game 7 Tonight, it will be Cleveland with a 3-2 series lead over the Raptors in Toronto. I like the Cavs in that one, and I think LeBron and the Lakers finish off the Rockets tonight and finish that series, which would lead us to 3 Game 7s on what I would believe be a combined Saturday, maybe Sunday. It may go to Monday for some of those. But Saturday, Game 7, 76ers, Celtics. Gosh, it's hard not to pick the Celtics. Celtics 7.5 point favorites on or at home against the Sixers. The Sixers have kind of been a different team since Joel Embiid came back. It was an interesting series before because they were able to take one, and then Embiid came back and it went poorly. But since then, it has been all Sixers in the last 2. They were able to take both wins pretty dominantly, which is pretty crazy. So it was great to see exactly who was able to be the star for the Sixers. It was Joel Embiid. It was Paul George. I just think that they come up a little short. In the NHL, a bunch of winners. Game 6s went on yesterday, and Minnesota able to beat Dallas. I think for a lot of people that was a shock. It was a really good series, but Minnesota was able to pull it off. Philadelphia obviously got the win in overtime. Colorado swept the Kings. They'll be moving on. Anaheim ended the Oilers season in a shock to a lot of people tonight. Vegas and Utah will play Game 6. It's hard not to like Vegas in that series. For me, experience matters. Experience wins. So I like Vegas as a weekend winner. I like the Celtics as a weekend winner. I'll take the Lakers. I don't want to take anybody that I think will force Game 7. So those 3 so far, I think Tampa will force Game 7. So those are my 3 weekend winners across those sports, as in the major 2. In the playoffs, in the Kentucky Derby, I got to tell you, I don't know who to go with. I know a lot of people in the chat. We're gonna give everybody a shout out who has picked a horse. Code going with the Puma. Chris Reiser likes the Further Ado, and Renee on Chief Wallaby. So we got 3 horse picks. For me, I'm gonna go with the Emerging Market. You know, I'm feeling good with the Emerging Market at 15-1, hoping the market will emerge. I feel like that's, good vibes out there. Silent Tactic, I feel like he could be good, kind of a sleeper there on Silent Tactic. A lot of great names here in the Kentucky Derby. I got to tell you, that's a sporting event I would love to get to. Would love to get to the Kentucky Derby. What an awesome event that is. I'm all in on the outfits. I don't know about everybody else, but the outfits are great. Just tremendous. I mean, the hats, I'm a big hat guy. As you know, I wear one every day on the show. But you give me a reason to wear a great fedora like that, I'm all in. I am all in. Give me a seersucker suit. You know what we should do? We could do, John picked So Happy. So Happy is a horse. He was sure to let me know that. So Happy, yes, 15-1 here. By the way, I don't know if he still has a horse. Last year, it's hard not to take litmus test about Badford horse at 50-1. That could be great. I got to tell you, you know who used to race? Jason Worth used to have a horse that was in the Derby, and I want to say won the Belmont one year. But, yeah, I do think Emerging Market. Let's see. Brian says, I do whatever the great Blackhawk Eddie Holchek says. Emerging Market. Pair it with Golden Tempo Exacta. Wow. Brian with a big pick here. He's going with an Exacta. He needs the 2. I like that. Brian. So we got a So Happy. We have a Oh my gosh, John let me know. So happy he's a local Arizona horse. Look at that. We got a local Arizona horse in the Kentucky Derby. Ton of fun. The Derby is. And Code says, I'm going to go all in on a fresh new set of Puma sneakers and a tracksuit if he wins. You have to. You got to root him on. Rock some Puma sneakers. I haven't worn Puma gear in a long time. I feel like it's more of a soccer thing. Well, wasn't me. I never rocked Puma on the field. I was a lacrosse, golf, football guy. Puma wasn't big for us. I wore New Balances, Nikes, Under Armour. They weren't big for me. All right, but coming up next, before we hand it off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour, it's all the stories we didn't get to. It's the leftovers, and they are next here on the lunch break. KDUS, AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Was Kevin Durant out because it is a 7-game series and we could afford to lose a game? Maybe. I was surprised to see him on the bench. Everyone was surprised. The odds makers were surprised. Who knew that the Houston Rockets without Durant can't find someone to make a bucket? You know, Sengun's a very good player, and in years past, he might have been the guy to try and carry the load, but it didn't look good at all for the Rockets without KD.
Live weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Arizona lawyer will handle Arizona cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Somber presents You Are the Reason Tour. Fresh from selling out shows all around the world. See Somber live in Glendale. Desert Diamond Arena, October 14th, with special guests Tom Odell and The Help. Get tickets now at sombermusic.com.
If you're a fan of any sport on the planet, college or pro, then we are right where you want to be. The place to come when you want to have too much fun. Real sports fans need a sports book powered by Hard Rock Bet. Follow the money line to Twin Arrows and too much fun. Twin Arrows. The best indoor tailgate party in Flagstaff with massive HD screens, cold drinks, game time food specials, and best service is at Arrow Sports Bar. After the game, get back in the game at craps, blackjack, and slots. Now that's too much fun. The place to come when you want to have too much fun. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
ASU Weekend Baseball happening over on KAZG 1440. Join the Sun Devils on the diamond this Friday as they travel to Florida to take on UCF. Head coach Willie Bloomquist is ready to start off May baseball with a road win. Join the voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, on the call live. It's game 1 between ASU and the University of Central Florida. Pregame at 2:45 p.m. and first pitch at 3 over on KAZG 1440.
It's our last segment for the week before we hand it off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. Again, I'm Evan Reitzer, filling in for Chris Schubert, producer Evan, as most of you know me here on the show. Chris out today, hoping he feels better, a little sick. But before we hand it off, it is all the stories we didn't get to. It is the leftovers. And before that, I want to tell you about what's going on the station this week. We got 3 games for ASU baseball. They continue to look to stay hot. It is a big series for them. A lot of morning games, a lot of early afternoon games this week against UCF. They are currently tied at second in the Big 12 standings with UCF. So a huge series for them. Don't forget to listen to the show here on the free KDUS AM 1060 app. Again, you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks versus the Mets at Chase Field on Saturday, May 9th. Calling all Jedi and Rebels. It's Star Wars night. Join the Arizona Diamondbacks as they take on the New York Mets Saturday, May 9th. The first 25,000 fans that come to the game will receive a Gabriel Moreno Mandalorian bobblehead courtesy of Cox. Come dressed and ready to use the Force. Claim your tickets at dbacks.com. The Diamondbacks are playing right now. They are currently in Chicago against the Cubs, trailing Chicago right now 6-1 now, as Chicago tacked on 3 more here in the bottom of the 4th. And you take a look, and already was not able to get through 4 innings. So it'll be another taxing day for this bullpen. Zach Gallen not able to get through the 4th. He pitches just the 3 2/3 today, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, moving his ERA up to 4.45 on the year. So it'll be another 15 plus outs for the Diamondbacks bullpen to record as they try to come back and get a win on or against the Chicago Cubs. But it's a 3-game set for them. Hopefully they can win the series there. ESPN wrote a story this morning that I found interesting. I didn't know if we were going to be able to get a full segment on it, but I wanted to do it in the leftovers, and that was predicting NFL Rookie of the Year candidates. And I think that the favorites for the Offensive Rookie of the Year are obviously the ones that are going to jump out the page. Fernando Mendoza, obviously the Cardinals picked Jeremiah Love, Carnell Tate, who was picked 4th overall to the Titans, Jordan Tyson, who was picked 8th overall to the New Orleans Saints. I would say those are probably the league-wide favorites. And I wanted to get into what it would mean for the Cardinals if it was Jeremiah Love. Like, would you feel vindicated in the pick? Would you say they got it right if he won Rookie of the Year? And leave me a comment, and I know we only have a few minutes left in the YouTube channel. Would you think they got it right? Like, is there any way that the player is so good, even if team success does not follow with, would you be like, no, the Cardinals got it right at the rate taking a running back with Jeremiah Love? He's that good. And I went through that conversation in my head because as good as Saquon was his rookie year, as good as Christian McCaffrey was as a Carolina Panther, those teams just never got over the hump. And I can't get over that. Like, for me, positional value matters. And I look at this roster, and I just don't think they were ready to draft a running back 3. And I know we've done this song and dance quite a bit. But this story made me kind of come back to it. Because I wanted to ask the question, like, even if he wins Rookie of the Year, he could 1,400 all-purpose yards. It would be awesome. Everything there would be great. But honestly, would it make you feel better about the draft pick? I don't know if it would for me. I really don't. I don't know if there is a way that I'm going to say, unless they go on deep playoff runs with Jeremiah Love, unless they get the quarterback next year, and I feel like Jeremiah Love pulls some of the pressure off a young, developing quarterback. But right now, not having him lined up with the next quarterback of this organization, how do I feel really confident about what he's going to be able to do on what we imagine is probably a pretty short runway for a running back that's gotten the workload he has, not only in college, but the workload we imagine he's going to get in the NFL in his short career. Or in his, start of his career, not short career. Hopefully it's very long. What can we expect from Jeremiah Love and everything that he could bring to this organization? So that was a story that just kind of jumped off the page. Rookie of the year, I'm thinking about multiple things, but the one thing I'm thinking about is even if they win it, even if Jeremiah Love is by far the rookie of the year, does it really matter? Do you walk away feeling great about what he was able to do? I don't know. I don't know if you can. Yesterday, we told you Brandon Woodruff, getting into our next story, Brandon Woodruff had to leave the game because fastball velocity was down all the way from like 93 of where he's typically at all the way down to 87. Brewers Brandon Woodruff heads to the IL today. It's shoulder inflammation. And so he will miss some significant time. The Mets have made an announcement. I know they are off to a brutal start. Now, I wish I could have Chris react to this, but unfortunately he is sick today. We'll have him back on Monday, but the Mets are standing by Carlos Mendoza. It's been a 10-21 start, and you can't blame a start that bad on the manager, but it feels like the Mets were ready for a little bit of change. It won't come in the form of the manager. They are going to stick with Carlos Mendoza. Matt Brock over on the YouTube says, won't have to think about it. Carson Beck is winning the job. I don't know if he is. I just don't know if he's going to win the job because, man, I don't know if he'll have the runway. And I talked about this earlier in the show. Like, how many starts, honestly, can you expect from Carson Beck this year? Is it 3? Is it 4? At max, I think it's 6. I imagine they're going to give Jacoby Brissett 10, 11 starts this year, especially if they're going to pay him, quote, like a starting quarterback, which I don't really know what that means. But you have a bridge guy who's supposed to get you to the next quarterback, the next era of this organization, who wants more money to be paid, quote, again, like a starter. I don't know what that means. He wants around Kirk Cousins money. Why would the Cardinals do that? So if they can't get to the next step with Jacoby Brissett, could we see Carson Beck start all 17 games? I know Matt over there on the YouTube just shout out and said he's got great odds for Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he's going to play enough. I don't know if he's going to play enough to even have a chance. Like, you imagine Fernando Mendoza is going to get a lot of run this year. Now, I think if my Take a Note Thursday from like a month ago is correct, I still think Kirk Cousins may start week 1 for them. Which is crazy to say because I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be a really good quarterback in this league. But I don't hate it for them. I don't hate them bringing in a veteran and letting the young guy sit for a couple weeks and then start him. But Carson Beck that's not what it is for him. It's not, they're going to turn it over to him eventually. It's more of the Tyler Shuck thing. Is he going to have a job or a chance to compete for the job? Tyler Shuck lost the job, and then they went back to him later in the year, and he started to play really well. Jacoby Brissett started all these games last year and didn't win a single one. Are we sure he's the starter? That's why I ask. Jacoby Brissett, Carson Beck, Gardner Minshew, this quarterback room is fogged up. I don't know who it'll be. And if it's not Carson Beck, I guess I just have the question, what did you waste the 3rd round pick on then? Are you not going to draft a quarterback next year because you took one in the 3rd round? That's bad processing. That's bad organizational ideas. And taking one in the 3rd round is already bad enough because you've set yourself up for nothing but a short runway for a young quarterback who's going to have to get ready for the league. The pros of Carson Beck, though, he's played a lot of football. He is big. He has the physical talent. From a physicality standpoint, Carson Beck was amongst one of the best in the class. From a amount of games played, he is certainly more than Ty Simpson. But if you're going to take Ty Simpson in the first round, I could see giving him more runway. But now that you have Carson back and you didn't take Ty Simpson, after he went 13 to the Rams, it felt like, okay, they'll draft one next year. To take one in the third round, and not just in the third round, but at the top, the first pick of the round. It just feels like they do not have the resources or the ability to play this guy for 10 games, which they're going to need to do. That'll do it for me today on the Friday edition of the Lunch Break. Thanks for hanging out with us. Again, my name is Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Hopefully the Diamondbacks can get on track, get some good starts, and maybe take 2 of 3 in Chicago. Thanks for hanging out again. This is the Lunch Break here on KDUS, AM 1060. Peace.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Live from Southern California, this is the Jim Rome Show on Westwood One.